It's Cinco de Mayo here in Texas, and we are enjoying our Mexican food, as we always do, Cinco de Mayo or not. But today, Chef Dickey Meatloaf is here celebrating with us, and he is going to make a bean and cheese taco treat for all of his dog friends. This is a real simple recipe, and it's actually good for your dog. Everything in here is human-grade food, so you could eat these. They won't have any salt in it because I generally don't have salt in our dog's biscuits. But what we do have is 3.5 cups of AP flour. We have a cup of grated Monterey Jack. Now, Dick prefers Monterey Jack, don't you? So he likes Monterey Jack. You like Monterey Jack? He goes, yeah. You could use cheddar, but don't use any of the imitation cheese that you wouldn't eat yourself. It won't melt well, and it'll just get greasy. We don't want that. We have 1/2 cup of diced carrots, 3/4 cup of cooked and cooled pinto beans. We have garlic powder, a little bit of cornmeal, an egg that we're going to whip up in a minute, a little egg wash, give them a little finish. Oh, you want some more? Okay. All right. He's such a little pig. He loves to cook. Are we cooking? We're cooking. A little cilantro and some vegetable oil. So these are things that you typically would have in your house, and we're going to start off by combining the dry ingredients and whisking them together. Okay, so we've got the garlic powder and the flour. We're just going to mix that together. We'd like that. It's just 1 tablespoon of garlic powder, and it sounds like a lot. And remember, garlic powder, not garlic salt. We don't want a lot of salt in here. Right, Dick? We don't want a lot of salt in here, do we? We're going to mix this together. And before we start working on our wet ingredients, we're going to take our cheese and we're going to get it suspended in this flour. We don't want it to lump up when we cook it. So we're just going to take our little spatula and just kind of toss this cheese around so that it separates and it gets flour on it so it'll stay separated. The same thing we do when we're making muffins that have fruit. We want to get that floured so it stays in and around. Okay, so that's blended in nicely. Now the carrots and the cilantro, we like to make our little tacos look like tacos. So we're going to make part of this with those combined for the little edge in the middle. You'll see what I'm talking about in a minute. So we're going to take this, and to this we're going to add our oil. We're going to put this egg in here, beat this real quick. Right? You think so? Dickey thinks so. And we're going to add this egg. Now, once we've got these things added in here, we're going to start adding in our beans. But before we do, we're going to mash them so that we can add them to it. So what I do is take this, and I'm going to put it into either a large bowl, or I'll just put it in here with a potato masher. Now remember, these are cooked and cooled. Try to not use canned beans. They have a lot of salt and preservatives in it. Try not to give your doggy friend anything that you yourself wouldn't eat. Now, these had a little bit of the cooking liquid with them, and you could use up to a cup if you wanted to. Yeah, you can just hang out. He says he's just waiting for the final product here. And we're going to add this to here. And we're going to add a little bit of water to bring this together to form a dough. I've added our beans to our mixture here, and it just kind of cuts through a little bit. It's basically not only your protein, but kind of your fat in here besides that little bit of oil. I'm going to make a very loose, almost biscuit dough while that's in here. Make sure it's stirred together well. So all we have in here at this point is our AP flour, our garlic powder, some beans, and some cheese. I'm going to add about 1/3 cup of water, and we'll start there. Are you bored? You ready for some food? And I'm just going to keep mixing this until this comes together and starts to form a dough. I don't want it to be too wet. Now, there's no raising agent in here except for the egg. So it's not going to get really like a bread or a biscuit. It's going to be, it'll have some height to it, but it won't spread or it won't rise too much. We've preheated our oven to 350 degrees, and I'm going to finish combining this, and then I'm going to separate it so I can add some of the carrots and the cilantro. Okay, we've got everything mixed, and we're going to take about a third of this out, and we're going to mix in our carrots and our cilantro. Yes, cilantro is perfectly fine for your dog to eat. However, you do need to check before you add any herbs, because some herbs are not good for dogs. So we're going to take this and we're going to mix in our carrots and our cilantro. You can see how it's already kind of colorful here. We're going to mix this together because this is going to be the little inside of our taco, and it'll look sort of like tomatoes and lettuce. Now, of course, you know we can't feed tomatoes to a dog, so we're using carrot instead. Besides, it's very pretty. All right, we're going to let that sit, and we're going to start rolling out our other dough. So I've lightly floured my surface, and we're going to roll this out. You can see it's a little bit sticky. It really almost feels like a biscuit, but it is not a biscuit, I assure you. We're going to roll this out until, because these are going to be folded over, we want these to be really thin, maybe about a ½ inch thin, because it's going to roll over to make the little taco. And get this like this. And we're just going to roll this out. You hanging? It's hot in the kitchen today. Dick says it's hot. Now you can see all the little beans and the cheese in here. You might add a little salt, make some chips. But today we're just doing this. So we're going to keep it just about right here. And we're going to take a 1-inch biscuit cutter, get a little flour on it, and we're going to go through here and make all of our little rounds that are going to be our tacos. Once we get those done, we're going to put them on a prepared sheet with a little bit of cornmeal on the bottom so that they don't stick, and add that little extra cornmeal taste, and put in our centers. We've cut them out in our little 1 inches like this, and we're going to end up folding them over about 3/4 of the way. But before we do that, we're going to place our other dough on the inside. These are about 1/4 of an inch thick right now. I'm going to go ahead and move them over to our tray, and I've put some cornmeal on there. Now remember, these won't rise or spread, so you can keep them pretty close together. And we'll put these all on here. And these are going to make some nice little taco treats for our dogs. I mean, they should have Mexican food too, right? Now, you know that you can't give them things like onions and tomatoes, so don't give them your leftover tacos. They can have dog tacos. Now, these pinto beans were cooked with just a little bit of garlic and water, maybe a little onion powder. So there's nothing in there that they can't eat. Okay, now we're going to roll out our centers. Now, you don't have to go to this trouble, but I think they're kind of entertaining, don't you? You think they're entertaining? It is so hot today, and yet we're still in the kitchen. So Mr. Meatloaf is saying, hey, when are we going to be finished? We're going to take a little handful of our dough that has our carrots and our cilantro in it. Now we're going to roll this out really thin because it's just going to go in the middle. It's just the lettuce and the tomatoes, if you will, of the taco. Now the carrot added a lot of moisture to it. So we're going to roll this out real nice and thin, and we're going to need a little more flour on here. real nice and thin. Now, we don't want to cut it with this because it just needs to be half of a round. So we cut it, but we're going to cut those in half with a pizza cutter so that it goes in nicely. I'm flouring this in between each one so it doesn't stick. So out of this small amount, we're actually going to have quite a number because we're going to cut them in half. And of course, we can always use this extra dough if we need some more. Let me show you how to cut those. And then I'll assemble all of these. And we're going to put them in a 350-degree oven for about 35 minutes. Could be longer for you. Well, actually, I did forget one thing. We're going to add a little egg wash to the top, which is nothing more than egg beat up with a little bit of water so that we can brown the tops a little bit. I just think it looks good. Why not, right? So cut each of these in half so that you have a little circle. And we're going to just place this in the center and just fold that dough about 3/4 of the way so that it looks, and then go ahead and give it a little bit of a press. Now remember, they're not going to rise. They're not going to spread either. So you can roll these out even thinner if you want. But we're going to use them just like this. But we want it to kind of have an open space so that when this browns off, you'll be able to see all that green and orange. So I'm going to finish these up. We're going to put them in, put the egg wash on top. Then we're going to put them in a 350-degree oven for about 30-35 minutes. Then we're going to take them out and see how Mr. Meatloaf likes them. What do you think? Yes? He says he's really ready to get out of the hot kitchen and let's do this. We've baked these off at 300. Dick, not yet. You have to wait. Where's John? Where's John? Okay, wait. He really likes these and he wants me to press on with this intro. Dick, all right, look at me. He's going to keep on till he gets one. So while we do this, these are kind of springy. They're really nice textured. Would you like one? Oh, he loves his taco treats. And they're very good for them, easy to make, and they're a little fun. You can get my... He wants some more. Do you want some more? You want some more taco? Doggy taco? Here you go. He says they're very tasty. I think your dog will like them too. Why not? Enjoy Cinco de Mayo. Let your dog enjoy it and have a good time. Dickey, you ready? Wave. Wave. We're still working on that one. High five. Good boy.